In this video, I want to talk a little bit about another knitting loom. The last one I did a video on was the 28-inch authentic knitting board knitting loom, but with the 20 peg extenders, which made it a weaving loom. This is one of their vintage, mine is vintage, 38-inch afghan loom. Mine has the metal pins, and personally, I love metal pins. They have just updated this, and I've got this on top of a cart, so when you see spring water, this is a cart. They have just updated this loom to be either nylon or plastic pins, which I think is too bad. It might make it lighter to use, but this is a beautiful, solid knitting board. And like I said, I prefer the metal pins. Now, this one I've always considered a bulky weight afghan loom. And you see a bedroll here. And what I am actually making on this is a bed pad to go with that bedroll. So you can see, now this has 94 pins on each rail for a total of 188 pins, which seems to be the same as their updated model. They also say the new one has pin spacing of 7/16 of an inch in between pins. And this was always sold as a bulky weight loom, and that's what I've always used it as. These, I guess, would be also called 7/16 spacing, even though when I measure it, it's actually 6/16. But, I mean, my ruler could be off or something. But anyway, they're wonderful knitting looms. And what I really want to show you is this is what you're getting into when you use this. This is absolutely beautiful fabric. Now this was kind of just thrown together with colors. And whatever I had extra at the time from a project, I put it on here, just sentimental. I know what this yarn is, I know what that yarn is. And now I'm at making a red and white bed pad that actually matches the bedroll. But because I'm using 2 strands of yarn and making this a bulky, thick, I need a thick bed pad for the bedroll. At the end where I've removed the, whatever they call that, you put in a yarn so that you can pull the work down until it gets going. I've removed that and I've crocheted the edge. But this is about half an inch, a little over half an inch thick, not counting the crochet is thinner. It's absolutely beautiful for a thick fabric. Now the only drawback to this board in bulky weight, using it like this, is the amount of yarn you go through. So this is why I automatically throw any extra bulky leftovers right on this loom. I am using Red Heart Super Saver in, I believe it's cherry red and Aran, which is really a white. And I'm going to go as far as I can. I have 27 ounces of that. That's not probably going to take me very far. So if you're thinking of buying one of these, I just checked on the updated one. They get $59.95 plus shipping, which, I mean, that's, I guess, average, except I didn't mind paying that. I think I paid $55 about 15 years ago. Right after they opened, I got this one. And I didn't mind paying that back then because of the metal pins. So it depends on how you knit. I just like the metal because then I know I'm not going to snap a pin. So that's my personal preference. So $59.95 is probably comparable to any other 38-inch long loom. Now the other advantage is that you don't have to use the whole length. You can use this as a 28-inch loom. You can use it as a 10-inch loom, 18, anything in between. You can use it just on the very edge and make a headband on, say, 10 pins. So it's better to have more than less. And just so you know that $60 is the investment, and I wouldn't use single strand worsted on this. Even, I don't know what they recommend. I didn't read the full description. I would always use bulky on this particular one. Maybe, I mean, I have a couple other looms with their nylon pins, and they have a round head shape at the top that does make a slightly different type of stitch. It's a beautiful stitch. I have their 18-inch all-in-one board, and it makes absolutely beautiful fabric. This, I don't know, is just to me a little bit more rugged and meant for a bulky weight yarn. So I'm starting with 27 ounces, excuse me, for a bed pad for a bedroll. I don't think that's going to be enough, and that's 27 ounces of bulky. So if you went to buy 27 ounces of bulky, it would be expensive. So just so you know what you're getting into, what kind of panel, excuse me, what kind of panel you're going to end up with, what kind of knitting, what it looks like. Single strand would look exactly the same, except it would be thinner and slightly more lightweight. I have another 28-inch loom set up with single strand, and that also comes out beautifully. But this is particularly their 38-inch Afghan loom, which they're not really now marketing as an Afghan loom. So anything this wide, 38 inches wide, is going to bring in a lot of yarn. And just so you can see at the end, here's, the board is that long, but this is going to go in at least 2 inches. So you're only going to get like a 36-inch wide piece, maybe 35. So just a few things to think about before you invest $60 in one of these. I've had it for years. I love it. But I know that I'm using it for specific projects. I would start with one of the smaller looms like the 10-inch or even the tadpole loom if you're trying to figure out whether or not you like this kind of knitting.